This is Logical MGTOW Spot. Today's topic is going to be generally about child support, and of course there might be also more to it. Um, now, there's one particular thing, and I will mention that I got a comment today. I saw a comment today, which was posted about 3 hours ago. And one person, be that of course a male, said he was more than fed up, essentially, with the female, which I understand. Um, the basic fact is that he basically is not he doesn't want to deal with women, which I totally understand. Um, the one thing though too is I believe that MGTOW has mentioned this before. Many MGTOW members have mentioned this before, but maybe not directly. Um, and that is simply that women have the complexity of thought, um, that they could do many things without the man, even when it comes to raising a child without the father. Now, well, that's like saying she's going to be turning into some superhuman being that's able to handle anything and everything. When basically, in real logic and actual reality, you can't do that because studies have shown more than one time per century and per year that when a child grows up in a home without a father or home without a mother, and at times a home without the actual biological two, okay, the child will more than likely act out, and they do act out, so much so that they get in trouble with the law. They do things that they know that they were taught never to do. They do things so much so that they end up getting records, legal records, put upon them, which can more than ruin their future. I'm not saying all children do this. There are children out there that would follow the law, but still act out without involving the law. Okay. But of course, there are those children that do act out where the law is put in to the picture, but the child is warned. And at times, even with the warning, it doesn't always work. And with that, though, still, before all that happens, the woman thinks that she can raise the child well enough by herself, more so than a lot better than essentially than with the biological father. But yet, eventually, they end up bringing in a secondary father, be that of course a stepfather. But then eventually they separate from him, and then the other aspect of it is that the child still acts out either way. Whether if they get punished or not, they still eventually act out again. And in with that, the mother of said child that divorced or no longer associated with the father, whether they're married or not, thinks that and they think this at a young age at times too. More often than not, really in that sense too, is that the woman thinks that she'll be able to get the income from us, that the government within the state will be able to take from us out of our paychecks while we work, even beyond the child's age of 18. They think it's going to be an ongoing. But even with the fact that they are said, well, you're only going to get child support for only 18 years till such time the child hits the age of 18, then no more. But even with that though too, not all women, if any, not all women, if any, realize that or even take that into constant continuous thought. So instead, what they have done, and it's been proven, they use a percentage, a moderate to almost complete percentage of the child support that was given to them by the government, by the state government, through by after the government takes a percentage out of the biological father's income, and be that of course wages, and they use it to mostly pamper them. The woman usually uses a good large percentage of it, even a moderate percentage of it, but so much so more often than not that it leaves way less, if any percentage at all, for the child. Now, men and MGTOW men know this. The MGTOW men know this, but men out there need to realize this. If you can prove without a shadow of a doubt, if you can prove that the child is not being well tended to while the child support is being sent over to the mother, that's so much so that she's using it for her and not the child 100% or any percent, any high percentage, then you will teach the woman a lesson that she cannot get away with using child support to pamper her, and then whatever percentage, if anything, if any percentage at all, would go for the child, which is not very much at all, really, at all. But yet, here's the thing though: when the aspect of child support is henceforth, ladies, child support, not for it doesn't go child mother support. It goes child support for that, which means the money that's being brought over, is sent over to you ladies, is for the woman to spend on the child, not for the woman to spend on her and whatever's left to spend on the child. Now it is sensible that men would pay the child support, and it's logical and realistic that men are willing to pay the child support as long as it goes to the child, to and for the child only. Hence the labeling child support. Okay? But that child support is, and it's been proven many times over, but so much so that the woman continuously does this shit and thinks that she can get away with it, even if it's known and noticed that it's mostly going towards and for her, and if any is left, it goes to the child. With that, though, too, before the child is even born, it's been said to even us fathers, whether if you're married to the woman or not, to the expected mother at this point or not, it's going to be when the child's born. It's going to be whether you want it to be or not, ladies. That it is about the child, 100%. It's more about the child than it is about the father. It's more about the child 100% more than it is about the mother. But what does the mother do? What have many mothers have done and think that they can get away with it, even if they are or are not working or are getting some sort of financial governmental support or federal support or not, or even parental support or not. The woman ends up spending a moderate to large percentage of the child support on her. And like I said, whatever is left goes to the child. And they expect the secondary father figure, being the stepfather or whoever, to subsidize, even if they're not married to one another, even after the sex. But here's the thing, though, too. It's logical if the stepfather is married to the mother, but if they're not, no. But here's the other part of it, though, too. They expected the man to help them to where they can better feed the child. Outside the aspect of the child support being mostly spent on her, when it's really supposed to be spent on the child, and while this is happening, she's still not found out. And with that, the father doesn't even realize this shit. Okay? That the child is not being properly and beneficially benefited and taken care of like they should be with said child support payments. Then it's been even shown and proven by even MGTOW members that have shown that even when the child hits 18 years of age, sometimes men will get a knock at the door, expecting the woman, expecting the man essentially to subjugate more, even if the child's reached 18 years of age. And in this case, it could be to where she had another child prior to the divorce and prior to the first installment of the child support. And even after that child support ran out due to the fact that the child hit 18 years of age, many men have gotten this, a knock at the door, where the woman wants the guy to subjugate more additional percentage of child support. Now there are courts, there are judges that will go for that. Sadly enough, even if the father is not 100% sure if he should, in fear that he might get in trouble by the law or the judicial system. Women have ways to mentally manipulate men in that thinking, in that way of thought, as it were. Women have a way to manipulate men, in even in promising something that they know that they won't give it, but they promise it anyway. Much like a politician, much like Biden in this current election, he promises a whole lot of shit, but he knows he won't do it, and he knows a percentage of the shit that he can't do logically. But nonetheless, just like a politician, women manipulate. And with that, they laugh it off at times and say men are weak minded, simpletons. Not all men. When you mention men, you're saying that about the whole entire gender, ladies. It may be that one or various numbers of men that are quote unquote simpletons to you, ladies, or in another way of saying weak minded, easily manipulated. But not all men are like that. Even if my now ex wife were to knock at that door and expect me to put more child support towards children, and I'm not going to say if I have any or not, I would say no. The only way, and logically the only way, we men would be able to make sure that the child is being more than well fed, clothed, and taken care of in the aspect of the child support situation, even if we are divorced from the mother, even if we are separated from the mother, even if we are not married to the mother. The logical way, and many court systems need to realize this too, of what's said on this video. Many judges need to realize this too. The only logical way for a father, an actual biological father, to make sure that the child or children are more than well attended to, taken care of, fed, clothed, the whole enchilada, whether even after said divorce or after the birth of the child or children, till the age of 18 legally, that the father should be able to do visitations till the age of 18 at the most, and then it's up to the child from that point on, to where the father does a visitation, and gets the things that the child needs before they treat them to McDonald's, Burger King, Carl's Jr., whatever, and even before they take them to Disneyland or Great America or wherever, or even Six Flags or Knott's Berry Farm or Legoland or whatever. The child's needs of the clothing, for school, for regular recreation, for many, many different things. But most importantly, that the child's more than well fed, or even well fed in general, that would be to the sufficient amount and love and percentage. This way, it would deflect from the mother getting the check of the child support and spending it mostly on her and whatever's left on the child. This way, the child would get what it deserves because it's about the child 100%, no matter what. 1 fucking 100%. Hell, it could be 200%. It's been said even before, again, before the child is born, that when said child is born, or when, even if it's a twins, even if it's triplets, even if it's one then the other, right? It still leads to, and it still lays to where the child, basically, it's about the child, not about the mother, not about the father, not about the stepfather, not about the mother at all. Not at all. The only time it's going to be about the mother and the father is if there's no child around. If there's no child born. Other than that, it's about the child till the age of 18. Then the child is responsible to, will be able to build up enough responsibility to take care of themselves. And sometimes it takes a little longer than that. Sometimes a moderate percentage longer than that. Not the child's fault, not the parents' fault. It just happens that way. Now I know I'm going to be getting a lot of hate after this video from mostly women, trying to say that women are not like that. But it is, and it has been proven that more often than not, the woman would spend a high to moderate percentage of child support on the woman to pamper her, to do things that she's been wanting to get and do for herself. And then outside, if she hears something like this, then she'll deny it and say, I always spend the child support on the child, when really they don't. And I know the women will comment on this video and say that, plus say more things to try to dumb me down. They won't be able to because I know so much. It's been proven more often than any other thing has been proven. So much so that even in the sense of what's known to be a broken home, even after the fucking fact that the mother divorces the father, in her, even in her emotional buildup of emotion and trust and belief in herself that she'd be able to do it without the father. But yet, from the late 80s through the 1990s, And even in the beginning in the millennium, there's been more broken homes without the father or without the mother, and at times without both, where the child acts out. Yes, the child will act out, even if the child is not in a broken home, but not so much. They will not act out so much with a mother and father in the same surrounding, be that in the home, in the same house that the child or children grow up in. It does happen where the child acts out the most at a higher percentage, higher to even high to moderate percentage, and a moderate to high percentage. However way you want to look at it, still the same. That the child does act out when there's no father figure around, which happens more often than not, and when there is no actual biological mother around. And it doesn't have to do where 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 if there's no mother around, the daughter would act out, right? And if there's no father around, the son would act out. It doesn't work that way. As much as women may want to believe in and have in their minds that, yeah, if I wasn't around, my daughter would act out, or if my son's father wasn't around me, he wouldn't act out. Bull fucking shit. The son as well as the daughter need figures, both parental figures. The daughter needs the father and mother figure. The son, the male youth needs the father as well as the mother figure. But the one thing is, they need to have both parental figures in the same fucking house. No separate residences, because that still has it to where the child will eventually still act out. No, 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 no distance from one another. The parents cannot have any far distance from one another, or else the child will, more often than not, most definitely act out. And yes, it will happen where the daughter or the son of the child, one of the child or children, will act out. It's been proven, ladies. So it's all well and good. It's all positive and understandable that women think they can handle things. And they believe that they can handle things. Yes, they can, to a point. But nobody can handle things to the points of where they're like superhuman, being able to work and handle and raising a child, even 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 while they're working, they're able to. You're gonna you're gonna tire yourself out. You're gonna wear yourself out to the point to where you will not live as long. That's strain and stress right there, ladies. You young women need to realize this as well. Young men need to realize it as well. But there are many men are even beginning, some of the new generation of men are beginning to realize it's not as easy as it may seem or as much as they may have thought. Women need to get to that same general thought process. It's not as easy as much as they think or have thought in the beginning. So, in all of that, though, too, it is easy to acclimate, even verbally, to say, make sure you find the right person that would be the right person that you'd stay with, even for the child's sake. Or even if you do have a child, for the child's sake as well as the sake of the marriage. Mostly you hear that type of shit from women. You'd hear it differently said differently by the male though. Guaranteed. You'd hear the same positive thing, but it would be voiced differently where it benefits not only the male, but also there are males that will say it where it benefits both. The male as well as the female, but most importantly the child. And not very many people look at it that way, if any. And there are men out there that will say it to where it benefits the child more than it does the mother or father. But yet women will look at it as if it benefits the father as well as the child. There's no beneficial aspect for the woman. That's the way women look at it. If it's voiced by a male. And yes, I know women will deny that. So if you deny it, there's no reason to comment. If you deny most of the things that I said on this video, there's no reason to comment. You can, but but you'd be wasting your finger exercise on the keyboard or on your phone or however you're acclimating the comment and however you're watching this video. But women need to wake up and realize what I say is more than logical and actual and more than accurate and more than that actual reality. It's not made up. I've seen it for myself. There's been many studies over the course of many years to prove. Now, what does that do for the feminist woman? Nothing very positive, nothing very beneficial for them now, does it? But it's not really to benefit anybody but the child or children, because this whole thing is for and about the child or children. When it comes to raising a child or children, once a child or children are brought into to the realistic aspect of the picture, where they're right in front of you, or at school, and or they're sent, brought back to you after school and all that, right? Even as they grow, even after being babysat by family members or friends, it still goes to where no matter what, it's about the child. The child is the main focus. Yes, the main focus for the adult is to pay the bills, rent and groceries and or mortgage, and also car payments, what have you, right? And gasoline, what have you. But when it comes to survival, besides survival for the parent, survival for the children, numero uno. After all, even as all those bills and shit are paid, right? Survival aspect, numero uno, child, then parent. Child, then parent. Child, then parent. Child, then parent. Child or children, then parent. It doesn't go parent then child, parent then child, parent or then child or children. It doesn't. Never will go that way. But like I said earlier, it's been proven more often than not that the child support has been mostly spent on what women want to pamper themselves and do for themselves and get for themselves, and then if a percentage, if any, is left, goes to the child. And it's not that high of a percentage all the time. In aside from the fact that women have the choice to give birth to a child or children or not, be that of course abort the child, like I mentioned in one of my other videos. But once the child is born, brought into the world, it's not about you women 100%. You may say that you know it, but yet the actions prove otherwise. Your actions prove otherwise, ladies. It's all well and good, and it's all positive and everything that you women believe that you can do things without the man. But there's been also aspects of where the woman thinks that, and even the feminist women have put out there saying that men are nobody without us women. We could say that same shit about you women when it comes to us men. But even before the creation of the female, Adam himself was able to take care of shit for himself and around himself before Heavenly Father himself created the gender known as female. Be that, of course, before Eve was brought into the picture. So if Adam can take care of himself without any association or involvement with the woman and without any assistance from any woman, as he's shown many times even before Heavenly Father himself again brought in the aspect of Eve, the aspect of the female gender in what came out to be Eve, then what the feminist woman has said, men are nobody without us women. That is bullshit. That is falsehood. That is a way that where women think that by saying that men are weak-minded enough to believe that. Men should always go by what I said there earlier when it came to Adam. for more than a century, or however long it was, really. It could have been more than a century. It could have been more than a year, more than 4 or 5 years or so. Only Heavenly Father Himself knows this on this part. But however long it was, and it wasn't that short of a time, that Adam was able to take care of himself, of the things that he was responsible to take care of, even for himself, and to make things comfortable for him especially, and that benefited him as well. Before Eve, before the female gender was brought into the picture. So that means the male gender can do just as well without the female. So, men, if you've heard that women, the feminist women mostly say, men are nobody without us women. Men won't be able to handle things without us women. Men are nobody and nothing without us women. Men will not be able to make it without us women. When you hear that, or anything even associated to that, or even connects, or even is vocalized differently, however, by a woman, be that mostly feminist and Me Too women, don't believe it. Because if Adam heard that, he would have thought about it. There's a percentage that he would have believed it, because the creation of humanity was starting. It started with Adam. But yet, there's a percentage of the where he would not believe it and go about his day-to-day thing by taking care of things for himself and feeding himself and whatnot else. This is logical facts and truths. Now, if it was reversed, if Eve was the first one to be brought in, I'm just saying if it was reversed, if Eve was the first creation that Heavenly Father ever made to begin the creation of humanity, there might be some question to that as well, wouldn't there? Just like the feminist women want to question when it comes to Adam without Eve. In the sense why the feminist women have said men are nothing without us women. Men will not be able to make it without us women. Now, ladies, I know for a fact that the feminist movement will try to redevise the fact that Eve was the first one to be brought into the picture before Adam, when really Adam was the first one to be brought into the picture before Eve. And I know the feminist women will do exactly that in trying to change the biblical teachings, even to our youth, which is not logical and not very respectful and not very sensible at all. because the actual and real thing that happened was Adam was brought into the picture first. Then eventually Eve was brought into the picture. Let's put it this way. Adam was brought into the picture first off, then Eve later on, but not so it didn't go Adam and then a few hours or so later then Eve. It took a number. It took a longer length of time until Heavenly Father put in Eve. Here's the other part of it though too. When women do things like say, spend their money without even paying attention, real close attention to their expenses and their spending limits, so much so that they actually max out a credit more than one credit card at times. Then when they associate with us men to the points of marriage, they want us men to pay their bills. Therefore, their debt due to the credit cards is added on to the male, to where the male is equally responsible for the woman's stupidity of overspending, to the points of debt, to where the debt lays not only on the woman and who is responsible for it 100%, but also a percentage of the responsibility would fall on the husband. And it's shown that even on How I Met Your Mother sitcom. It's easy for us men to say that we will not marry a woman with that type of debt or debt in general. But women don't always, if at all, mention that they have that large of a debt or any percentage of a high percentage of a debt due to their overspending on a credit card or in however else. Which brings the base, of course, like for example, when Eve went over to the forbidden tree of fruit, Adam could have easily done one thing, just walked away and let Eve take the brunt of the sinful action that she did, which would have meant that Adam would be again alone while Eve was out of the surrounding of the floor seer, if you will. And you know what I mean by that. But Adam didn't, did he? He didn't just walk away and let her take the brunt of the blame and of her sinful action. Now, did he? He took a percentage of the responsibility, even though it would be said that he took a percentage of responsibility more so than the woman, that the woman would be not 100% blamed, but yet Heavenly Father did it very smart. he gave a percentage, although it's not really said exactly what percentage, of the blame to Adam because he spoke out in defense of her, Eve. Even though Eve logically took the higher percentage of the fault that was put upon her, of her actions that she should not have done. Therefore, they were both removed from the protective surrounding to where they had to fend for themselves, practically, if not totally. Now, with that, women expect that same thing of us men, but in different aspects, in different scenarios and stuff, right? Women have gotten it from us men over the course of 40, 50 or more years. But women have also gone to the points to where they are basically nothing without the man. But then they eventually got to the points to where they built up enlightenment, encouragement, belief, and yet they've always had belief in them, but they got to the points of non-reality, to where they would be able to fend for themselves without any support from generally. Even I've heard many women say, "I don't need any support from. I don't need any help from anybody." I've heard women say that. Seriously, I've heard women say that. I can do well enough on my own. I've heard women even say that. Men have said it too. Yes. But the only difference is, and I'm not favoring anybody on this one here, but it has been more often than not proven that men have been able to make it further than the woman. The only way the woman would be able to make it just as far is once they connect with a man. And this is not to downgrade either gender. This is just pure, simple fact and logic and reality. That's the way it's been going for so many years. And that doesn't go to the points where the woman would lose trust and belief and faith in herself. And that doesn't go to where the man would lose trust, belief, and faith in himself. But at the same time, women don't have a logical right to assume negatively judgment, like assume that men are nothing without the woman. You do that, ladies, you are judging way beyond assumption of the man when you know damn well even Eve was not brought into the picture. Adam took care of everything for himself and without one woman. In the very beginning of mankind, of humanity. So therefore, that has been instilled within each and every one of us men. To try to take that away from us, you can't, ladies. Even the simple mindedness of a certain number of men that you may have in your feminist mindset thoughts, by the reason why women have said, a certain number of women have said that men are nothing without the woman, which is not factual. Not true either. All it is mind manipulation, and that's a sin. You continuously carry that through, ladies. As I said in my video yesterday, you continuously assume, negatively judge, do anything sinful against the Bible itself, the teachings of the Bible, especially when it comes to adultery. You will there's going to be more often than not of a chance. The more you do it, the more you do these sinful things, you will never see the gates of heaven after judgment. You will never see angels and trumpets. You will never see your family members in heaven as much as they want to see you after this life. So it's best that you feminist women do not judge, do not negatively assume, and do not negatively manipulate, even mentally manipulate or coerce us men. Because it's even been said even by me, if not mostly by me through MGTOW, that we are being judged even now as we live our lives, the many actions and non-actions that we do and that we don't do. The ones that are not sinful 100%, we're not going to be judged for. The things that are sinful that women have done even against us men and said about us men and judged and mentally manipulated towards us men, that is a sin, and that is a base of judgment towards the woman and against the woman. It's the same if the man did the same thing towards and against the woman. The judgment would be placed on the man. I know when the feminist woman would even try to get away with saying, whatever I do, men are responsible. Much like Adam was responsible for Eve's actions. That's not so. Adam was not responsible 100% for Eve's actions. Eve was responsible for her own actions and her own non-actions. Much like Adam was responsible for his own actions and non-actions. So basically, ladies and feminists and Me Too bitches, you need to realize what I say is an actuality and truth, and not only realistic truth, not only logical truth, but also spiritual truth. Believe it or not, ladies, it's up to you, but it will never change to be actual facts and logic and reality of truth. You may try to reframe it and re-associate it with something else and say it was this way, not that way. You won't be able to. You won't be able to. You may try to, you may even attempt to, but you won't. You will not be very convincing because of what I said is an actual fact, truth and logic and reality. What you feminists and Me Too women will try to disassociate it and say it's something else when it's not. Try as you must, try as you may, but you won't be able to. You won't even be able to decipher and acclimate it into something that it's not, that you will try to prove that it is when it's not. So basically, what I say, what I said in the sense of child support is an actuality. Whether women like it or not, I don't really care. Whether women accept it or not, I don't really care. But the basic fact is that you're not being fair to the child, which is the main subject title of this video. To and for and about the child, in the sense of child support. You're not being fair to the child. You're not being a true, caring, loving, respectful, supportive parent to the child, to and for the child. If you spend the child support on you, women, and only a percentage of any, if at all, go for the child. The aspect of it, the whole thing is that the aspect of the labeling child support, there's no exceptions to the labeling or to the rule on that. It doesn't mean that you women can spend what you want to spend to pamper and do things for yourself and give things to you and for yourself. Because by you doing that, ladies, you're ignoring the real logical aspect of where it's not about you, it's about the child. Therefore, you're spending child support on you when you should be spending it on the child. And I know women will say, yeah, we've been spending on the child. We're not stupid. Oh, really? Yet the actions outside of the vocalizations and text prove otherwise. So every court system, court judge needs to realize this and much, much more. So it should be a ruling in logic and reality that to save face in all aspects, that the father spend the money on the child and for the child, that benefits the child, that feeds the child, that clothes the child, that does everything that's beneficial for and to and about the child. Because it's been proven more often than not, with no judgment, that women have spent a larger percentage of child support, even a moderate percentage of child support, for and to themselves. And whatever's left, if anything, goes to the child. And that's not the whole aspect and logical meaning to it. Women will try to have their lawyers fight against it. Just and then if they get away with that, then they will do exactly what I've said. That's been proven more often than not, even after fighting against that very thing. And if judges are watching this, you know, you should know I would never say things that are not true. I'm a law-abiding citizen, and I know the law, and I've and I've paid attention to many, many things. Even if I were to be put into the the box or bench or seat essentially of where the lawyer asks me numbers of questions, I'll tell him straight out the truth, whether if I'm under oath or not. And if they play the video, this very video with me there, then they say, "Do you believe everything that you said?" Yeah, and I'd tell them straight up, "I do believe it. Yes." Do you really have the proof? I'm like, what? Why would I have to have the proof? Why would I have to have the proof that I voiced out? And when it's been proven time and 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 so on and so forth and ongoing of an actual fact. There's no documentation in the law or even Constitution that says that I have to have substantiated proof right in front of me to prove of what I say. So that lawyer would be out of place and out of line by asking that question, by saying that very thing. And also, it would be put on the points of judging another human being when he has no place and no right, even spiritual, to judge. Outside the law, the judge, him or herself, doesn't have any place to really judge. That's the truth, too. So, ladies, you're going to have to really re examine things and really rethink things. And men, take this to more than account. MGTOW men will do the same, I know. Trust me on this, I would not lie to you. If I didn't know, I wouldn't have made this video. But luckily for men as well as beneficial for the child, him or herself, and him and herself, essentially, in the child sense, right there, is that it's a good thing that I do know the stuff that I mentioned. And it's also a beneficial thing for not only the woman, but also the man, but mostly, of course, I know women would look at it as a beneficial thing for the man. So be it. If you think that, but you're going the wrong base of judgment. Guaranteed. You can call this a spiritual MGTOW. I don't care. But it's one of logic. Many of my logical MGTOW videos are one of logic and truth and reality. Whether if the woman agrees with it, sides with it, or even does not try to down talk me after watching it, and realizes the actual reality of what I've been saying when it comes to the negative bullshit actions of women that women have done, and yet they tried to defend against it when they cannot defend against their non and sinful illogical actions, especially when it comes to do not commit adultery while in a marriage, regardless of the No Fault Act. The No Fault Act was generally for only those women who were logically and realistically raped. Okay? To add in one last part. The no-fault act that I mentioned on my video from yesterday of logical MGTOW is the fucking fact that the no-fault act was only for women that were logically and realistically raped. Due to the feminist movement and the Me Too movement, it's been used in divorce proceedings. And that has made it to where women can play act as if they're single when really, logically, by actual paper, that they're not. If they are actually married and in a serious relationship, they're not single anymore. Yet, due to the no fault divorce, with the no fault act added into the divorce, due to the feminist movement, the the woman has been able to use that in defense of her to to play act like if she's single, and then even if the woman is caught by the male or not, or even found out, that she'd be able to take him for everything he has, practically financial as well as itemizations, as well as when it comes to house, for example, and and also what is more detriment is the emotion at times, if not more than at times. And if you saw me get up there, it was my phone that I had to shut off for a second here. But what I say is an actuality. So you women need to you need to re-examine your actions, re-examine yourselves, re-examine your other aspects of what I've said in each and every one of my videos. So even if you want to defend yourselves and womankind, as it were, why? Why do that when you know damn well I would defend it? I will go right towards you and say, this is what reality is versus what you say. And I would say what that reality is, even if you defend against it or try to say it's not so. When you know damn well, and if you really look at the whole reality aspect and factual logic of the things, you will know that it's an actuality. Even if it's not, even if you want to say it's not you, women that comment, you cannot deny, even no matter how much you try, you cannot deny that you would do it. You would do the same shit that other women have done to men, and you cannot deny, even if you have. Even after you have, then you tried to say that you haven't. Because when you do that, you're not only lying and deceiving yourself, you're also lying and sinning when it comes to base of spirituality. You're lying to many people that see your comment and hear your voice by saying it's special. And even he knows, even Heavenly Father knows, you are lying, ladies, and that's the dang truth. Whether you want to acknowledge that or not, I don't really care. But it will not stop being the truth. It will not stop being fact. And it will not stop being logic, even in the spiritual sense. So, men, being honest here, and logical MGTOW would never deceive men. MGTOW will never deceive men. And the MGTOW members know this information. And even the blue-pilled simps and manginas and many others will know. Even the ones that are not MGTOW. I'm being honest. This is logical MGTOW Spock. Men, stay strong, stay single, stay self-assured, self-confident, emotionally, psychologically strong, as well as self-confident, self-assured, and belief, and have faith and belief in yourself, no matter what. And believe me, you are stronger than what women, even the feminist women, want us men to believe, even within ourselves. You will be able to take what I said about Adam versus Eve, and even before Eve, because Eve was not in the picture in the very beginning. Like I said, Adam took care of everything for him, and that benefited him, that made him comfortable. You men can do the same thing. So when the feminist woman says that men are nothing without the woman, it's their mind manipulation against us men and trying to get us men to believe something that's not in actuality. Because they are only after things to benefit the woman. They're not really after an actual relationship. Think about that too. And women will find that I have found them out. Like I said, I know the male and female psyche, ladies and men. There, you cannot deny that if you watch every one of my videos besides this one of logical MGTOW. Even my C.R.P.H.A videos, you will see that I know the information that I know and that I have, even that of what I've spoken, be that I've said. This is logical MGTOW Spock. Stay strong, stay self-assured, stay self-confident, men. Have faith and belief and strength within yourself, emotionally, psychologically, and spiritually. And you don't have to be a churchgoer on that aspect either. But also, stay safe. Stay MGTOW, MGTOW for life.